blow when it comes to the Indian market. Did you read this story?
We talked about it.
We did, actually, a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about how India is contemplating, or was contemplating, I should say, opening up its retail market to the likes of foreign investment companies or foreign retailers like Walmart, so that they would have the ability to even control to some degree the supply chain management within India.
Yeah.
And actually, this idea, while on the surface seemed like a great thing for India, there was actually a lot of resistance. And in the end, Parliament decided to table the whole idea of opening up the retail market to foreign investors and foreign companies because of the backlash in India.
Yes.
And basically, the other...
Even I didn't think it was a good idea.
I didn't. I actually had a very strong opinion when we talked about this last on the show, because there are mom and pop shops in India that survive because of the neighborhood that they serve, because of these personal relationships that they have with their clientele. You bring in a Walmart and you obliterate those kinds of relationships and these mom and pop shops.
I tell you one other thing that is wrong up there. The government doesn't want to spend their own money for infrastructure. They want these people coming from outside. And as we all know, there is no such thing as a free lunch. But these guys keep making those mistakes. They say, okay, you come in, you make the roads, and I'll give you this.
You know what else?
It's just so terrible way of managing a country. I mean, slow goes, it's okay, as long as you continue to improve your infrastructure within your own money. Look at the rupee. You know how much it has fallen? How many rupees to a dollar do you know?
It's probably over $50, 50 rupees at this point.
53 rupees to a dollar.
Wow.
And
I agree with
everybody is happy in the government because they say, folks, if our rupee stays low, then we will be cheaper in the world market. I beg your pardon. That's not a good way of looking at it. We are always saying that these countries, you know, China, had a currency that was so low, we feel it's unfair. India, their currency is so low, they keep making little noises. No, we're supporting it. We're supporting it. Goes from 53 to 52. No. They need to do much better on it, because before they're considered like they'll have to be, right now Japan is 78 yens, used to be 130 yens, you know. We want these countries to come up. I remember when I first came to this country, it was 8 rupees to a dollar.
Yeah. In fact, it wasn't that long ago, considering how far it's fallen. I agree with you. I think that India, by trying to do this measure, was being incredibly short-sighted. And the other thing you realize that India has in common with the United States is that just like states can enact their own laws, and the federal government has limited ability to oversee or to shoot down state laws, same thing was happening in India with regard to this law. There were many states in India that basically flat out rejected and said, no, we will not participate in this. We will not allow Walmart to come into my state. And so when Indian government started to realize, wait a minute, we're becoming very fractured over this issue, that's when they decided it just wasn't worth it. They tabled the whole thing, and now the question is, well, for how long? And of course, you know, the answer everybody's saying is, well, the plan will be shelved until a consensus on the issue is reached, which you can pretty much ensure never will happen. There will never be a consensus on this issue.
And one of the other problems, like I said a few weeks ago, the problem with some of these things is that only the big houses, the Birlas, the Tatas, and the others, they become partners with Walmart, and they're the ones who actually take away the little people's living. And there's something wrong with that, you know.
It's no different than AT&T and T-Mobile trying to corner the market. So
I mean, if you open 50 small markets, I bet you it'll be cheaper than Walmart. But because there's competition. There's no competition when Walmart comes in.
I agree. And I think this gives Indian entrepreneurship a chance to evolve and fend for itself. And the country really should fend for itself.
That's right. This was an interesting article that I saw in Washington Post. You know, most of us have this impression that somehow young ones are out there and they're the entrepreneurs, they're the most successful ones. But folks, the actual average age, here's the statistics. 39 years old is the average age of founders of successful engineering and technology companies. I give you a period from 1995 to 2005. 40 years is the average age of male entrepreneurs in 12 high-growth areas. You know, when Mr. Walton started Walmart, He was 40 years old. 41 is the average age of female entrepreneurs in 12 high-growth industries. So it's not the young ones, which I was surprised to find.
Well, the thing is, we're so skewed because we think of Facebook and we see the face of Mark Zuckerberg, and he's like, looks 12. And then you see, even to some degree, Steve Jobs was basically a young cat when, he rose with Apple. And so you get this impression that everything new and related to the internet must come from someone who's very young. Even Google, if you think about the two guys at Google, they were young guys. And so you think, well, Google and Apple and these big companies, and they're all young. Therefore, if I'm in my 40s, I'm way over the hill. I can't start anything. But, that's not really true because it takes a while for companies to get off the ground. And that was, something that the article talks about also is that, your social network, the one that you build throughout your career and your lifetime is what helps these companies to survive. Mark Zuckerberg and some of these other young cats had a brilliant idea and they had a lot of luck to get them where they are. But behind them there are thousands that never got there.
That is very true. These are average ages. I mean, there are some young ones that start, like you said, Mark Zuckerberg and all of that. But at the same time, I want to tell you, unless you have lived a little life, you really don't know what can come forward. That's number one. Number two is when you're 40, 41, 39, you're married, you have children, your focus becomes, I want to be successful for my wife. I want to be successful for my children. And that's
I want to leave a legacy.
Yes, and savings too, that's when there are more business people that I know of, they actually start in the late 30s and go right up to 50. After 50, there are very few people that go in business. But from 38 to 50, man, is the most ripe age to go in business.
For a couple of reasons. One, I think it takes a while for you to take your blows and to learn from others. And you have to get to a certain age by which you've observed other people to be able to learn from them. And two, in some cases, these young guys or girls that have started businesses, they've never known failure. Yep. Whereas, I think for some of the older entrepreneurs that start, they've known failure and they've known how to bounce back from failure. Yeah. And so they don't necessarily take defeat, they just go in a different direction. And if you look back over the history of big companies and who they were started by and how successful they were all started, nearly all of them, including even Benjamin Franklin, who invented most of his stuff after the age of 40. So I think, you are in a different place, a different mindset, and your motivations are different when you start businesses later in life.
And your motivation sets are different, and I really think that the family gives you more motivation.
You think? You don't think that adds pressure to the desire to succeed, where you take a risk on your own, fail, no, don't fail, it doesn't much matter. You can just pick up and start over.
No, because you know what family does? Family gives you the support for you to do anything you want to do. Big business people, sometimes they will tell you that they don't have much of a family life. But it is the family that's supporting him. He can be out on the road 5 days a week. They wait there patiently, comes back on the sixth day, gets a homemade meal, and of course gets to hug the kids. And again, Sunday night he's gone, or Monday morning he's gone. Successful people, yes, but they still need a family.
I would say just about every Indian woman, married woman, would agree with that, taking care of husbands and families for generations.
Yes.
Well, speaking of devoted moms, particularly moms in India who, often have their sons living abroad because they go to college and then they leave the country to pursue a new life. And what's the biggest complaint by these boys or girls that come here? They miss mom's cooking.
Yes.
Right? There's nothing like going home to a home-cooked meal.
Yes.
But what to do when you are thousands of miles away? Well, there's a new service in India that was started by a company called Maysheri. I hope I'm saying that right. And basically, Maysheri, what it does is it vacuum seals food. Mom's cooking and sends it overseas by air mail. So, within a matter of days, you can have mom's cooking arrive at your doorstep. All you have to do is pop it in the microwave and it's good to go. There it is.
Wow, what a great idea.
Mom's biryani, mom's dal, whatever it is that you miss from home. In fact, this is a business that is taking off in India. There are 3,000 mothers who so far signed up, this is in the city of Mumbai, so obviously this will keep expanding, who have come to Meisheri Foods to send loved ones their home-cooked meals all over the world. And what's so great about it? Well, it preserves the taste and the flavor because there's no preservatives. Yeah. And it's not like you're buying store-bought product where you don't know what went in. This is your mom's cooking, right? So
I remember when our kids were in college that we'll send them care packages.